One of the most important phrases from the book Psycho Cybernetics that I think out of all the good content in that book, one of the most important things in that book is a statement where Maxwell Maltz says, "We act or fail to act not by will, which is so commonly thought, but by imagination." First of all, if you haven't downloaded and listened to my series that I put together on this subject, I highly recommend that you do so. I've provided the link, the download link, somewhere in the description on this page if you're watching this on the Synergist project. But this is one of the most important things, because too often when we fail to do what we ought to do, or we do the things we know we shouldn't do, we think that it's because of something that's inborn in us, that this is a reflection of who we are and all that we're ever going to be, instead of realizing that these things come out of what you and I imagine. It comes out of our self-image, which comes out of how we imagine ourselves to be, which generally, if we haven't consciously and intentionally put these things together, is totally erroneous. And I harp on this a lot. I bring this up a lot in a lot of the material and content that I put out, because it was so freeing for me, and it's so freeing for countless others who actually get to the place of realizing that this is true. Because so long as we think that this is who we are, when I screw up, this is who I am, this is who I'm destined to be, so long as we believe that, it makes it utterly impossible for us to improve and make our lives better. That's why you're going to see this is the majority of what I talk about. In my sales training, this is something I talk about. You've got to get this straight inside yourself. You have got to get to the place where you know that this is true before you start trying to improve the way you act. Because if you hold the belief deep down that you're destined to behave a certain way, it's going to be impossible for you to make any changes. I can give you all the tools. If you're following me in terms of sales training, or learning how to persuade or be more influential, or whatever it is, I can give you all the how-tos, but that's not going to change anything so long as the self-image that employs those how-tos does not change. And as long as we believe that we are destined to fail, we're screwed, because we look at our past experience in anything and we come to certain conclusions about it. And when I made that shift in my own life from realizing that my failures and shortcomings is not the result of who I am intrinsically, who I am inherently, but that it came forth because of what I believe to be true through certain concepts and ideas and beliefs that could be changed, that must necessarily be changed. That freed me from so much of my head trash. And I so wish the same for you. That's exactly what has to happen if we're going to make changes in this life and become all that we can become. All of us have such an inborn desire to actualize our potential. And we are going to continue to be frustrated at every turn so long as we don't get this straight. Because if we think that we're destined to fail, we can never change. So think that statement over. I recommend everybody get the book Psycho Cybernetics. Especially, I'd get the new version, the new updated version. Both are awesome. But Dan Kennedy has done a phenomenal job on updating Maxwell Maltz's original book with newer examples and more in-depth details, because so much research has been done on this subject. There's so much more material now. So I recommend getting the new Psycho Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. Has been updated by Dan Kennedy. And remember, keep that in mind. Think on this. Meditate on this today. That statement that I made from Psycho Cybernetics, that we act or fail to act not by will, which is so commonly thought, but by imagination. What we imagine to be true about ourselves and about our environment. Love you guys. Take care.